Josh?
We have to elect a chair at this meeting. Oh, don't say on the agenda.
It's just a nice to change the comments. You're on the phone.
I was going to nominate Bob anyway.
Good evening and welcome everyone on YouTube, on screen and in the room. Welcome to the operational board. The first business tonight is the election of the operational board chair and vice chair, and this is normally done by the governance manager. So I hand you over to Jane.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I apologise about the late report going out regarding this election and the change to the agenda. So I'm sorry about that, but hopefully you've all got it now. The only interest that we've had put forward formally for the chair of operational board is Bob to continue in this position. I haven't received any other interests. Are there any other interests from the board members this evening? No? Okay, so Bob, you can continue as chair for another year. Thank you very much. And then that brings us on to the vice chair, who has been Jeanne for the last year. Are there any other board members who'd like to stand for vice chair? No? Okay, are you happy to continue then, Jeanne, as vice chair?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, over to you then, Bob. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Right, well, I'll start off tonight with, we've got some new members in the room, new personnel. I'm going to start with introductions. And if I start, I'll go different tonight. Louise, you can kick it off. Introductions.
My name's Louise and I'm corporate support and I'm here to take the notes this evening.
Gaz?
Hi, I'm Casa Hota, Strategy and Performance DCC, supporting Derby Homes with business planning and performance reporting.
Thank you. Lucy?
Hi, I'm Lucy Kerr. I'm one of the council representatives on the main board and on this board.
Mr. Bayliss?
Hi, my name's Steve Bayliss. I'm head of repairs.
Thank you. Lorraine?
Hi, I'm Lorraine Tester. I'm the head of housing management until next Friday when I retire and be handing over to Carl, who will introduce himself later.
Thank you. Claire?
Good evening. It's Claire Maraboni. I'm the Director of Housing Services.
Jim, I'm going to go around the room this week.
Okay. If you missed out, Jane.
Oh, sorry. Oh, Jane.
Done, Jane.
How could I forget?
Hello, I'm Jane Hayward and I'm the governance manager for Derby Homes.
Jim?
Hi, I'm Jim Joyce. I'm head of housing options and homelessness for Derby Homes.
Hi, I'm Michael Kirk and I'm the finance director and company secretary.
Hello, I'm Coltrane Willis. I'm the new head of housing management for Derby Homes.
And you're not going
That's
anywhere.
from Friday. That's from Friday.
You're not going anywhere.
Hopefully not.
Right.
I'm Mike Aidesley. I'm the chair of the main board, not officially part of this board. I just attend out of interest.
And I'm Bob McDonald. I chair the operational board and I'm vice chair of the main board.
I'm Dennis Rees, tenant board member OBE.
Good evening, I'm Ian Yeomans. I'm head of capital works.
Hi everyone, I'm Joan Shepherd. I sit on the main board and obviously vice chair on this board.
Hi, I'm Alan Martin, representative for the DACP.
Yes. Now to apologies. I think there's 4, isn't there, Louise? Just remind me.
Yep. So Councillor Jerry Pearce, Kevin Ellaway, Tony Home will be joining late. I think that's everyone.
And Lucy, you're going to leave by 7 o'clock.
Yes, I've got to be taking minutes at a meeting at 7, so I'll be leaving shortly before then.
That's fine, thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, sorry. The next item on the agenda is admission of late items. I only have one late item. What it's called now?
It's the norm.
Yeah. Bear with me, folks. It's IT not working fast. It's a Sporting Communities grant request, and I've proposed that we put it in after A1, so it will come before the forward plan. That's my plan to get that done. Everybody happy with that? Thank you. Well, the piano. Declarations of interest. Is there anybody who's done the declarations recently? Has anybody got anything to add or delete from the list that Jane prepared recently?
I would declare an interest in that late item.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've looked at that, Mike, previously, and we don't believe you need to declare an interest, but if you wish to do so, that's fine.
Sorry?
We don't believe we do need to declare.
No, but I will do it.
Okay.
You probably don't need to, but I think I prefer to.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Chair's announcements. Always a good one. From the next operational board, it is proposed that we have a trial agenda. In that, the agenda will feature with time slots on it. So each item we're going to discuss will have a time element added to it. We feel that that will help the flow of the information going through, and it will also help us keep a track of time as well. We aim to finish for 8 o'clock, so that's the plan to do that. Dennis?
Yeah, can I just say that we trialled it years and years ago, and the items that we thought would take 5 minutes took 20, and other items was over in the flat that we put a long time. I mean, let's try it, Mike.
Try it. Just a try.
I also feel that it's really important that we have time to discuss and debate items properly and thoroughly, particularly in light of the sort of emphasis with the regulation, and to show that we are looking at things thoroughly. I've sometimes found when I've done previous timed meetings that the emphasis becomes on the time rather than on the content. So I just think it's important to be aware of that as well. And
that's a fair valid points, and I'll take them on board and we'll try to see. As I say, to try it may, if we don't try it, we'll never find out. The next one is, you may notice on some of your documents tonight, you've got public, or the other word? Confidential, that's it. Items A and B will be now labelled. If they're A, that means in the public interest, and on some of your forms tonight, you will see it says public interest. And the C items are the confidential items at the end. And what we'll try and do, if I remember, going forward, the proposal is every time we change this topic, we'll just remind you if it's the public will come till we get used to them. One thing I'd like to raise, we've had difficulties through the corporate support team, particularly difficulties with people confirming I'm going to attend, I'm not going to attend. And this is not aimed at anybody in the room, but there are people out there who never seem to respond to, yes, I confirm I will be attending, whether it's online or in person. There's two ramifications for that. We need to know how many people are going to be at the meeting, but also, as you know, we provide catering for the meeting. So if it's a live meeting and you're in the room, we want to make sure you got your food. That's all I've got, I think. Anybody else got anything to add? Jane, are you happy with the proposal so far?
Yes, that's fine. If anyone's got any questions to do with the governance, then please feel free to contact me.
Right, we could now go through the minutes of the operational board held on the 22nd of September. We'll go through for accuracy first, and then any matters arising afterwards. And I will refer to them by page number, and of course this is in the public domain, these minutes. Page 1 for accuracy. Page 2 for accuracy. Page 3 for accuracy. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. And page 10. We'll now look at any matters arising from these minutes. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Oh, sorry. Lorraine?
Yeah, sorry, it's probably more accuracy actually, but under the home release policy, I think the operational board approved the changes, but implementation is subject to approval on funding by Derby City Council. So
Right,
that probably wants to be added to the minutes.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Page 6. 7. 8. 9. And page 10. Are we happy to accept them as a true record of the meeting on the 22nd of September?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Is that done? Questions from the member of the public? I'm not aware of any questions from the members of the public, unless something's happened in the last 24 hours.
Governance haven't received any questions.
Gaz, you've got the floor. Performance management.
Thank you, Bob, and congratulations, Bob and Sean, on your re-election. Another year, looking forward to that. As we normally do with quarterly reporting, I'll be sort of introducing the report. Michael has the slides, and Michael and colleagues will be taking you through the detail, but we're looking at the summary firstly. So if Michael's got the slides, I'll make a start.
Thanks.
Yeah, just while we do that, Louise, is it possible you could share the slides from the appendix, please?
Yep, just give me 1 second.
Yeah. Sorry, Chair, I thought we were going to go to the norms and report one, but we'll do the performance one now.
Yeah, we're going to do the other one after the A2.
Right, okay.
Sorry, before A2.
Yeah. Did you want to just speak through the covering report, Kaz, to start with, and then we'll go through the slides?
Yeah, sure. So this is Q2, so it's middle of the year. So particularly on a lot of the performance measures, you'll see trends, and we've put that up in the graphs that you'll see. Important ones, obviously, in terms of rent collection, arrears, etc., which has a timeline and a trend throughout the year. So the half-year point, I think, is a good point in which to look back in terms of how we've done for 6 months, and then in terms of what our forecasts are looking forward to the end of the year. Obviously, what we try to do in the first summary slide to give you, where we're doing well. So those performance measures that are green are on target. Those that are doing better than we expected. So they're exceeding targets at Q2. And then the second summary slide basically looks at those areas where we're sort of underperforming. So we might be on amber, just below performance level, and then those that are sort of significantly behind. And some areas that you'll know, like rent collection and arrears, tend to sort of correct themselves as we're going through the year, particularly as Michael will point out later, the there's rent-free weeks at the end of the year. And then obviously, home building, we know sort of affordable housing and new starts and those completions are also a key area as well. So Louise, if we can go to the first slide, the summary. So these are the highlights in terms of where we're doing well. So on track is green, and 7 out of the 8 satisfaction measures are on target, both for Q2, so that's mid-year, and in terms of forecast for year end. Both the new percentage of closed stage 1 and stage 2 complaints are meeting timescales, and also those escalated to the Ombudsman. All of these are on target for Q2. Property compliance, maintenance measures on track both for Q2, mid-year, and forecasting that they'll be on target for year end. So those are ones on target. These are the ones that we're doing better on. So it's quite significant, the middle of the year, as we look forward. The number of tenants evicted due to rental arrears, the actual is 3 at half-year point. Our sort of year-end target is 18, but it is related, of course, to rent collection, etc., which Mike will pick up on later on. Tenant satisfaction, with this new measure, listen to my feedback. The actual is 86% and the target is 75%, which is really good as it's a new measure. Average time to relet local authority homes. Our actual figure at midpoint Q2 is 18.6 days, and the forecast is for that as well. So, the target is 21, but we have to say that over the last couple of years, this has really sort of turned around from being behind target to actually sort of being blue and exceeding target. So really good sort of effort by the team on that. Rent loss through properties being vacant. The actual is 0.79% for Q2. And that's the sort of Q4 forecast as well. The target is at 0.9%, so that is doing significantly well as well. So that's a sort of like the sort of good news in terms of what we're doing, both in target and exceeding target. The next slides, Louise, we'll take through some of the sort of points that we normally sort of. Yes, of course.
Can we just open it up for comments on the greens and the blues, just in case anybody queries on them before we, if we just go back a slide, please. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
And obviously, I just wanted to reiterate what Kaz has said about the void turnarounds. Effectively 19 days. That is quartile 1 performance. Now there is a lot of resource going into the voids team to get that level of resource. And obviously, if you do get that voids turnaround, then the rent loss figure improves. What one's obviously linked to the other news story. I will pick up evictions. It's part of the confidential part of the report, the meeting, rather than taking questions on that particular one now. But again, if anybody's got any other queries on the greens, on the blues, we're happy to take them now.
Not while they're good.
Okay, and the void turnaround figures, you've got to, you can't have to be impressed by them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Louise. Let's move on to the second summary slide now, where these look at ones that are slightly behind target.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Louise, for the slide. So these are the areas, obviously, we need to concentrate on, and a lot of effort goes into, sort of turning around a performance in quite sort of challenging areas, as colleagues will take you through. So the red ones that are off, satisfaction new home is off target, 93%, and it's against 82% against 93, and Q4 is 83%. So that's a red. Percentage of closed stage 1 complaints that are escalated to stage 2 is at 8.2% against the target of 5. So we're overshooting on that particular one. As you'll probably be aware, and that challenges in the sort of build arena and affordable housing, new home starts and those delivered are forecasting a year-end figure of 40, and our target is 60. So I'm sure Ian will take you through some of the sort of background sort of factors to that. Percentage of non-decent council homes, actual is 0.6%. So it's a small figure. against a target of 0. So obviously we want every council home to be decent, and there is underlying sort of information and factors that, you know, we would take you through in a moment's time. Average days lost to sickness absence. This is a critical challenge area for us, as it is with City Council and other organisations, and our rate at the moment is 11.2% against a target year end of 8.75. So that, you know, obviously is a challenge area. Those are just slightly under these three ambers. Affordable housing is sort of off target for forecast at year end. We're forecasting 680 against 709. Arrears of current tenants as a percentage of rent roll. The actual for Q2 is 4.4, and our target is 4, so we're slightly over. But our forecast is that we will be on target for year end of Q4 at 3.7%. Total arrears as a percentage of rent due. The actual is 6.2. The target is 5.8, so again slightly over, but again forecasting that will be on target for year end at 5.4%. And then finally, rent arrears of current tenants. The actual is at 2.60 million against 2.37 million, but the forecast again that will be on target at 2.2 million. Obviously, Mike will take you through the you know, those sort of figures in a few moments' time. But again, just any questions or comments on the red and amber measures, then take them now.
Reds.
Jan, and then sorry, Dennis.
I don't know if you want to speak.
I might actually. So, yeah, satisfaction with new homes. That's not just new homes. That's a new home. That's voids and relays as well. So that stat is for 73 properties are surveyed in that quarter. Okay. 7 expressed dissatisfaction. So it's those 7.
Yeah.
So you've got to weigh that up against your green target on the previous page, which was the good news about the voids being turned around quicker. So we have got a bit of a challenge with standards. So and the quality of the home we're returning to customers, and there's actually a voids action plan in the team which are trying to pull up standards, and they reported to SMT a month ago with an action plan. So that's a joint housing and technical team working together to draw the standards up. So there's a pretty good chance if we remove that 7 dissatisfied every quarter, could pull that figure up significantly. Percentage of houses non-decent. The 0.6 represents the 70 properties at Breton Avenue, all of which have a structural issue with the roof. They were built in 1947. You can see where we are now. They are well beyond their lives now. We're just now beyond 12 months of consultation with customers out there, where we're putting forward some ideas about the new builds and rebuilds, some refurbishments. We're not got approval yet for that scheme. We're working it up, trying to get a builder on board, try and do some preliminary work. We've done some initial designs. We've had 3 consultation sessions with customers. Just recently had a more recent communique, because there's a little bit of mixed messages going around about the fact that everyone's views weren't being taken forward. And every door was knocked on, every customer was spoken to, everyone's had an update. So nobody's going to be forced to do anything that they want to do. But there's some people just like the way it is. So that's a challenge we've got. So we're not sitting on a 0.6 non-decency and doing nothing about it. And the other one, new build starts and finishes. It is a challenge out there. We've had challenges in terms of very difficult to buy properties. We buy properties on the open market. Some starts, we're starting a few lesser sales in terms of new build starts. What we're doing to address that is we've currently got 4 projects out tender. So bringing it, whereas historically we've just built out properties with our own team, with local contractors, we're now going to bring in a large contractor, try the trim tracker. So going forward, we might have 6 or 7 new build sites on site at any one time. In addition to what the starts are this quarter, we've got some Section 106 properties we've started, and FEMO just started 12 bungalows on Rolls Royce. So we've got to give ourselves more options. Yeah, yes, momentum going.
That's
About scale and pace. So that's just a bit of extra cover for you.
No, that's appreciated information.
Yeah, could I have a quick word, if that's okay? Just add to Ian's, is that all right?
Yeah, go on, Steve.
Yeah, okay. On the top one, when we talked about new homes off target, just for the board's knowledge, we've done quite a bit of work with street pardon clearances and gardens, although not so much this time of year, and cleans and things. But what we have decided to change, which in some ways is disappointing, because our own tradespeople sign off the void as ready to let. We've decided for the next few months at least that one of the supervisors that actually does the pre-inspection is now going back on every void after the clean to make sure that the quality of the home is up to the standard we'd expect to give to our customers. So we are looking at everything. So it's got to help those numbers improve on the basis of if our surveyors are going in, supervisors going and checking stuff off on every one, we are expecting to see an improvement on that.
And dare I suggest to you that's putting the customer first?
Potentially, yes.
Thank you. I did want to talk about that performance measure about the satisfaction with the new homes, and recognising that it is for relets as well as new builds. And to say that I was really pleased to read about the action plan and the fact that you're all working together, and the information you've just said as well. That is that you're looking at that. From our perspective as board members, at the minute we are just getting numbers, and it would be interesting to have some sort of meat on the bones around those numbers about the reasons, so that we can kind of see if there's any sort of cause for concerns or any trends or anything in our role as board members to start picking up stuff. Because when it's just numbers, it's really hard to see, and also it's hard to see kind of if there is improvements or not, because you're right saying that it's only 7 cases. They all could be really serious, or they all could be very minor things. So without that information, it's very hard to understand that. And again, with the complaints, it's a bit similar with that. I know that in the commentary it said about it's a bit about the way that it's reported, and that's changed. But again, it would be interesting to have a little bit more information so that we can make sort of informed sort of stuff about whether there are any trends or not. So it's just kind of like taking that on board. For the things that, particularly the things that are in the red, they're the things we should be concentrating on, and as a board sort of making sure, and also identifying whether things need to go back up to the main board as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you for that, Dan. I was about to mention that, but you mentioned something with the job. Dennis.
Yeah, I'm happy with the 3 comments, but I thought the 7 was a new build, or just a new build, and I couldn't understand why people were dissatisfied with a new home.
And I think
either we weren't doing a job right, or somebody wasn't.
And I think Jean's request should be quite simple for us to be able to do, as opposed to surveys.
As well.
So and we've now got an empty homes coordinator imposed who we can lean on to be able to help generate some of this and put a steer on it. So I think it's something we can pick up tuners, can't we, Carl?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it is right. It is called a new home as well, because it's about a customer moving into a new home.
Yeah, we've got to move away from the word about voids, and that's why we tried we've tried to re-emphasise that it's empty homes rather than void properties, because it starts to, if it's a void, it just becomes something. Whereas if we talk about empty homes as an organisation, we're getting that property ready for somebody else to live in. And it's, their forever home, hopefully. So we have made a real focus on that for quite a while now, about trying to use that empty homes terminology.
Okay. Kaz?
Okay, so,
sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, sorry.
And Tony.
Thanks, Chair. No, I just wanted to make sure that we were clear that we were picking up an action in relation to Jean's comment about bringing the more data to support the information around the satisfaction with new homes.
Yep. Yep. Noted. Thanks, Claire. Someone said Tony was on there.
I think I saw
Yeah,
Tony.
sorry. Yep. Sorry to be joining late, but I'm picking it up on the finance side. Pleased to see you expect to hit the arrears at 2.2 million at the end of the year, but we see this figure every year. What happens to that 2.2 million in arrears? Does it just keep building up somewhere?
Yes, and I'll explain why in the confidential part of the report. And we will only hit our targets at the end of the year if the rent-free weeks, and we have 2 at Christmas and 1 at the end of March, if the level of income collected during them rent-free weeks is consistent with levels in previous years. But if there was ever going to be a year where it might be challenging for tenants to continue to pay their rent during rent-free weeks, it could well be this year. And if we don't get that level of rental income coming in during the rent-free weeks, then our arrears will not hit those targets, and they'll be significantly higher than the previous years and these targets. And I'll explain all the reasons which are contributing to the increase in rent arrears in the later paper.
Thanks, Michael. Is that okay, Tony?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll wait for that, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so those are the summary slides. I don't know, Michael, if colleagues want to go through the rest of the slides. So it's over to Michael, and Ian, if you take the next slide.
But we've provided an overview of what we think the key highlights are at Q2. All members have had the papers by CMIS, etc. So we're happy to take any more wider questions if there are any, but we wasn't proposing to talk through anything further.
No, we've covered the exceptions, and I think that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Is that it, Kaz?
Okay, thank you very much.
Wow. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Kaz.
And that Merry Christmas to you.
And you, and to everyone.
And before I move on, I've got an announcement to make. Sorry?
After the rain split.
Oh, after the sorry. I'm ahead of the game. I'm getting all these messages. I've got information overload today. I'm sorry, I apologise. Information overload today. Part B, supplementary questions. That's the next one. Was there any part B? I think they were answered, weren't they?
Yeah, it's been circulated.
Been circulated. Okay.
Can I just raise a comment on it?
Yep.
The bit about damp and mould, which obviously is an issue that's sort of national at the moment.
Yeah.
Steve did speak to me separately and gave me a more detailed explanation in the minutes, and I'm happy with that. But I think at some stage he probably needs to contact some of the people who are suffering with damp and mould, because I don't think they fully understand exactly what Derby Homes is doing.
Sorry, are you talking? What do you mean, Tony? Do you mean we need to contact the?
I think it's what you said to me. It's to a large extent it's education.
Okay.
You tell them to open windows and things like this, and they do or they don't. You said you're putting, what do you call it, forced ventilation in and things like this.
Positive ventilation. Yeah.
Positive ventilation.
Yeah.
Great. People still don't really understand how it works or what it's doing.
What do you mean? What do you mean? So maybe I don't know if we should talk about this now or not, but what do you mean by people don't understand? Are you talking about a specific example of one person or multiple people?
I just get the impression generally that people who suffer from mould and damp don't help themselves sometimes, and perhaps your supervisors, when they're dealing with it, could be, I don't know, a bit more empathetic in trying to sort of suss out why they're suffering from it and why they're not doing what you're suggesting.
Well, obviously, when we visit people and we find out what the issues are, be it it's a repair that's required to the property, albeit contributory to situations like not ventilating or heating, we always go through them exactly what the issues are, and then we also go through things that we can do to make it better. So if it's rising damp, we would put a repair on for specialist contractors to come in to do that. If we believe there's some issues with heating and ventilation, we also spend quite a bit of time talking to them about those issues and what we can do. We're also far more proactive now. So instead of saying to somebody, which in Rochdale, which we all know about, they just say we need to paint it. What we don't do that at Derby. What we will do is we'll talk to them about other options that we've got. So we might want to be able to put in better extractor fans, a positive ventilation system, which pushes air through the home and takes away moisture. We've also got now data loggers where we can put them into houses and tenants can see themselves issues of temperature and moisture in the property. We will mould wash, whether or not it's condensation or not. We've also got a new painting system to paint the property as well. So all of these things we'll go through with the customer. I went out myself on a customer visit last week and we spoke all about all the things we can do. And when I left the property, I was pretty sure that the customer, the lady, understood exactly what we were going to do and where we were going. But obviously it sometimes depends on our customers following that advice as well. So I'm not sure we're not trying to make it clear. I think we're trying to make it as clear as we can. We're very, very proactive now, Tony. It's not an issue of us trying to wash our hands or say it's your fault this is happening. That is not happening at all within the repairs team.
Steve, can I just come in? Chair,
Yeah.
can I please just come in here, because I'm not sure under which agenda item we're discussing this matter.
Yeah, like it's a question, I think. Claire.
Yeah, I mean, just to say that the team are putting together a report for the next operational board, outlining all of the steps that are being taken in relation to damp and mould.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is an awful lot of proactive work underway, and I think that it's right that the operational board are fully appraised of everything that's occurring. I think time hasn't been on Steve's side in terms of being able to prepare that for this particular meeting, but it is certainly scheduled for the next meeting.
Okay, happy to wait for that, Claire.
Dennis?
Thanks, Claire.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to thank Steve, because on the complaints, there was more complaints about staff than there was about repairs. Well done, Steve.
Careful.
Depends or not if they're my staff, though, Dennis. That's the only problem.
Mike?
Just to follow what Tony was saying, just want to reassure you, Tony, that this has not only just been discussed at the operational board, but it was discussed at some length at the last main board meeting as well, for fairly obvious reasons. It's an issue that the main board and the operational board want to be fully reassured that we're doing everything that we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jane, did you had your hand up? Are you happy?
Yes, I was just going to say that it wasn't actually on this agenda, and just suggest that it's spoken about more in detail at a time. But Steve's given a full explanation. That's fine. But I was just concerned because it wasn't actually part of this agenda. Thank you.
Okay. There's no other questions as far as I'm aware. Right, Carl. It is now the late report. I think I've got it right order this time.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, first of all, thank you for accepting it as a late report. It's something that you'll see from the report has been a long discussion. It's been ongoing for a while, but obviously we've just been trying to make sure that we've understand fully what the ask of the operational board is. Has everybody had an opportunity to take a look at the report and read it?
No. Bring it up, Louise. Well,
I'm happy to talk to it. I won't talk all the way through it. You know what I mean? But many of you will be familiar with Normanton Park. You know, it's a historic park in the city. Certainly over the last 5 to 10 years, a great deal of work's been done by the community to lead a regeneration, if you like, of that park, and that's involved friends groups, allotment groups. We've got a project that works with adults with learning disabilities, and more recently, sporting communities have taken the lease of Normanton Park Community Centre and the Historic Rangers Office, and collectively have developed a master plan for that park. And I say collectively, it's very much community led. So it isn't a council-owned master plan. This is something that's been developed by the various stakeholders on the park. And essentially, it's about trying to increase the park. We often use this phrase that we have neighbourhood parks, and then we have city parks. And city parks are Darley Park, Mark Eaton Park. They're the large ones that people go to from across the city. Normanton Park is fast becoming a vision of being a city park, a real destination park. And it's fair to say that a few years ago, it perhaps didn't have the image of that or the reputation. So there's been a real transformation. And I guess what we have now is this opportunity to take it to a whole nother level. So sporting communities have been working to pull together the redevelopment of the bowling club, the bowls green, and part of that is to include 2 new play zone pitches. So in the report, it talks a little bit about it. As far as pulling together the resources and the finances to do that, there's a number of organisations that are chipping in. To give you an idea, it's £280,000 in total to do this work, which is actually exceptional value for money anyway, because the contractors offered to do it, not certain amounts of that. So a number of funding sources have been already secured through Sport England, Football Foundation's putting a lion's share into it, Derby City Council through the Levelling Up funds contributing, and the Clough Foundation are also submitting, and there's a breakdown within 4.7. But the ask has been as we as Derby Homes to support this project as well, not to the tune of what the others have put in, but to the tune of £40,000. What that £40,000 effectively does is enable now for us to move forward and install both of the play zone pitches at the same time, all being well, subject to weather and any other kind of factors, actually quite early on in the new year. So this isn't going to be something we're not going to see the come to life for a while. Actually, this is pretty imminent, hence why it's kind of come to you as a late report in order to kickstart that. So that £40,000, obviously you'll be keen to know how does that benefit our customers. Normanton Park, obviously, you know, there's a number of our estates surrounding the park, but what we're particularly excited about is the fact that currently the footfall usage around those courts are around 5,000 a year, and we expect to see that increase to 75,000 a year. That's the size and scale of what this project's going to deliver. And what we do know, again, is that's going to draw people further afield from Osmond and Sinfin, as well as then across other parts of the city as well. It's one of 5 pilot projects in the UK. So, you know, it's a real kind of spotlight project. And as I say, it's a real, as far as community leadership is concerned, it's a really ambitious but entirely deliverable project. So the ask is for 40,000. It's within an existing budget that we have for community projects, but obviously we brought it to you guys. So I believe for the purpose of being the recommendation is that you approve the grant request of 40,000, subject to the final consent from Derby City Council.
Just before we progress this, Mike, is this the one we wanted to raise a declaration on?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you raised that declaration with Bob?
Yeah, yes.
Right. Okay.
Just to explain, the answer is my wife is the secretary of the Friends of Normanton Park. That's the interest.
And the application is obviously this grant is supported communities.
Jan?
Yeah, really in favour of this, and the fact that it will encourage more people to undertake sporting activities, and it's kind of like that health and well-being and all of that. So I think it's a really good project. like the fact that there's equality information as well, so which is really good on the report. Just want to ask about the budget, where it's coming from. Was there an underspend in that budget? We're already quite a long way through the year, or has other projects been put on hold or paused a bit to?
Both actually. It's planned to be funded from the Estates Pride capital, and that's why it's come to the operation board. Because as you know, the Estates Pride funding allocations is agreed by the operational board, and what we have in the Estates Pride capital is £250,000 a year, which the operational board decide on its use on, and it's mainly hard standings and new car parking. But we also have an extra £100,000 in the Estates Pride capital for resurfacing of existing car parks, and that we don't give operational board discretion over that 100,000, because those are the ones that are identified through the well-managed highways and are up for renewal. What we found this year is that due to repurposing of which ones are going to be done when, there's an underspend on that resurfacing car park budget. And what we can do is, through a combination of that underspend on the Estates Pride capital budget, plus some other spare funding from the wider HRA capital programme, and this 40,000 can be accommodated from this financial year. Now, it may well be that the funding doesn't get fully used this financial year, in which case we'll have to repurpose it and slip the funding and use it next year. But the reason why it's coming now is because we're looking to get approval in firm commitment now to earmark the funding from Estates Pride capital.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good. Thank you.
Dennis?
Yeah, I'm happy to support it, but I don't think we do enough in the community.
I think this would be a great opportunity to showcase how we can be a part of something much bigger. And to take your point around the health impact here, you know, we are looking to increase our positioning around the health and equality work as a social housing provider. This is just one example of how we can, you know, be a part of something that's much bigger.
We put the young people at the heart of what we do.
Absolutely.
We're going to get some publicity for Derby.
Well,
that's the problem to me. There is no public. I mean, I've just bought Derby Homes to do it, the last one. I think Derby Homes has mentioned 3 times.
Well, it certainly gives us something to celebrate.
Celebrate success, you see.
And that is definitely a conversation. You know me, I'm very much about celebrating success, so I'm looking for opportunities where we can do that more.
Tony, then Lucy, please.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea to do it, because there's quite a few sporting facilities there already. So doing those up and making them more user-friendly sounds good. One other thought, if you're looking for sources of funding, have you tried chatting up the bloke who lives at Chatsworth? His great ancestor opened the park in 1909. He might have a bit of spare something to give you.
Yeah. There's a man who can.
I do actually know this stuff.
Lucy?
I just wanted, I think it is really good idea, but I really don't. How are you going to go from 5,000 to 75,000, Carl? People visiting in a year?
That's the projection on print usage.
It sounds really ambitious. And my concern was 2 things. One, putting on, I sit on the planning committee, and I don't know whether it's got planning approval yet, because one of the questions they would be asking is the traffic impact of that sort of change, because the only practical car park I think around there is the one on Colwyn Avenue, and I guess that people are coming from that distance, then they're not all going to be coming on foot and by bicycle or bus. So it's just that slight feeling of concern. Has it got planning approval yet? And so is this a decision subject to planning?
I think the 75,000 projection is where they've looked at modelling, do you know what I mean? And it's visits to the park. So it's not 75,000 different people, it's increased footfall, obviously. But no, I'm not sure actually what subject planning there is on this. I'll have to go back to them on that. But they're leading the project. We're obviously just being asked to support with this funding application.
Okay,
Carl always thinks big. Well, no.
The key thing here will be the ability for it to be used more in the evenings as well, you know, for a while, and you know, it was wrongly suggested that at night it wasn't a safe place to go. So obviously increased usage during the evening, better improved lighting. You know, you'd be amazed how many more people are actually going to be able to access it.
Especially dog
Walkers and different clubs.
You know what makes sense.
Yeah.
Does it?
Watch this space. I'll stand there with a clip.
I wouldn't put that past a girl.
So, sorry, I just hadn't put my hand down.
All right, Tony. So are we going to go with the recommendation then?
Yep.
All those in favour?
Yes.
Questions? Thank you. That's a great result. We're on to the forward plan now.
Could hang on, could you just note that I consciously didn't vote on that, just because you think it's not gone through planning yet,
Yeah,
and could we just minute that? Thank you.
Yeah, he's got the notes. Yeah. A2 forward agenda. Tony?
Yeah, it was. I emailed Louise because I didn't know how late I was going to be. With all the discussions we've had on grounds maintenance, I think we ought to have an item on next March's meeting, just saying what the plans are for 2023.
As per.
Well, we said we'd come back.
Yeah, we said.
Yeah, no, you did. I think it just ought to be a formal item.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Tony. It will be there. Claire?
Thank you, Chair. Just picking up on the point I made earlier for the next operational board, that Steve's going to be bringing a report talking about the proactive work that's being done around damp and mould.
Thank you. Anybody else on forward plan? Happy with that then? We're now looking at item A3. If you've got hard copies, you will see in the top left-hand corner, it's a public discussion. So yeah, that's where we're going to move forward with it in the corner, so you know when it's public. And who's leading on this one, Lorraine?
Yes, that's mine. Yeah, it's we brought the tenancy policy to the operational board on the 10th of March, and then it went to the main board for approval in March. Since then, there's been a couple of very minor things that have come to light that weren't included in the policy. And we think for completeness, they do really need to be in there. So I'm just bringing them to your attention for this meeting. So the first one is that under section 3.9, we've added a section which talks about demoted tenancies. At the moment, we're not using these at Derby Homes, but they are an option that is available to us. So we think, and we may well consider it in the future. So we thought it was important that that was included. And then also it came to light that sections 11.1 and 11.4 of the policy have been updated to include the civil partnership opposite sex couples regulations of 2019. It was something that was it wasn't a big regulation, so it was only something that came to light by chance, really, when we were dealing with a query. But it amended the Housing Act of 1985 succession criteria to further include a person who immediately before the previous qualifying occupier's death was living together with the previous occupier, as if they were a married couple, or civil partners shall be treated as the widow, widower, or surviving civil partner of the previous occupier. So it's really important when we're looking at succession that we do consider this. So again, we wanted to make it really clear within the tenancy policy that this is something that we do consider. So they're the two minor changes, unless anyone's got any questions.
Well, it's good as well from the operational point of view. They're highlighted in red in my copies. I think everybody else is red, and that draws your attention to the changes. And it saves up to fiddle it through the report. So I like that idea, Lorraine. Thank you. Any other questions?
No, I think it's good.
Okay.
permitting antisocial behaviour, we shouldn't have something with them.
No, I'm pleased to see that you might consider using demoted tenancies.
Yep. Lucy. Can't hear you, Lucy.
Muted, Lucy.
Apologies. This is A5, isn't it?
No,
It's A3.
A3.
When, I need to go now, but when you get to A5, there is a repeat of, under the key terms family member, a phrase is repeated. So just look out for that. It's towards the bottom of a page, but I must go. Sorry.
All right, Lucy, no problem.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
And of course, Lorraine, you've got another one coming up soon, haven't you? A5.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm then 6.
Is it 6 as well? Yeah. So we're happy to the recommendation. It says to recommend to the main board that the minor amendments to the policy are approved.
Yes, happy with that.
Yep.
Wow.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock then.
Your clock's 2 minutes early. 2 minutes early.
Sorry about that.
Any objections? Thank you, that's passed. A4, Estates Pride Programme.
Thanks, Chair. It's that time of year again.
Yeah.
During this report to you, try and re-outline what is intended or proposed for the following year. I'm going to assume you've all read the paper, but just briefly summarise what it is. So it's basically details 2 areas: the capital programme, capital budget, and the revenue budget, totaling 750,000. So this proposal's to spend £250,000 worth of capital expenditure, and it's usually focuses on parking and cars. Now this previous year just gone, because we haven't got any sort of schemes worked or any ideas. We've got ideas, but hang your hat on, so to speak. We focused totally on hard standings this year. And very good progress has been made and got down the list of waiting list we've got. So this year, or upcoming year, we've got a number of schemes where parking and cars are an issue. So what we've got there is a list on the floor, a list of schemes. The ones that the top half, or top 2/3, are the ones that have where the consultation is going well, and we're confident we're going to get planning, and I think we'll have the biggest impact. So the proposal issue is to reduce the number of individual hard standings delivered and focus on delivering some schemes. Which is what. And if you look at it, actually the 60,000 covers 15 spaces, and if you look at the remaining 190,000, that delivers 45 spaces. So basically, it doesn't matter how you deliver it, you deliver the same number of spaces. You're still delivering 60 spaces for £250,000. So that's there. There are reasons why the 3 schemes at the bottom I want to defer them. What the main one really is plenty of part of that.
I was going to say.
Yeah. I think that's come up before, isn't it, Dennis?
It's always it's a standing item on the list.
Very good, standing, very good. I get the link.
So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for you to okay the delivery of. Now, if an odd scheme there fails to get through planning, or there are issues during the consultation, there are various stages. Then what we tend to do is go back and deliver a few more hard standing. For example, this year we will deliver the budget. So
that's good.
Then on the following page is the revenue expenditure, and it's pretty much as detailed in previous years. One area I would focus on there is what we've done under well-managed highways. The inspections that we're carrying out, and the success of that is that the proactive way that's being dealt with, repairing paths and parking areas, etc., is that there's a reduction in sort of accidents and trips and that sort of thing. We can trace benefits from doing that proactive sort of, and the regularity of inspection. Also, there's this £70,000 on there for sort of environmental improvements initiatives. In fact, the small scale works budget there of 100,000 also has, we often deliver environmental improvements, seating, fencing changes, to very small schemes for the benefits of customers.
Yeah.
So nothing different, particularly it's just a different mix of schemes. Usual, just give your approval.
You could have be so bold as to suggest that all these parking spaces are going to benefit the customer, so therefore again, put the customer first. Well done.
Anyone's really desperate to look at the plan. So
I think basically, you know, and I like the idea of a scheme as opposed to individual.
Yeah.
Any questions, anybody?
No.
Are we happy to approve the recommendation?
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lorraine, I think it's you next.
It's me again. Just before I start, I just wanted to say that I'm going to present this report and then I'm going to actually bow out of the meeting and pass on to my successor to carry on and finish off the reports. So this is the Derby Home. Sorry.
Just interrupt you there, Lorraine. You're going to do one of your exit stage lessons.
So can I do the report?
Do the report now.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I said, busy running out the door.
No, so,
Only joke.
Okay, so this policy is a brand new policy. It's the Derby Homes succession policy. So it's just related to Derby Homes properties. So at the moment, Derby Homes work to Derby City Council's policy on succession, which is approved by Council Cabinet. And that policy covers all Derby City Council owned properties that are managed by Derby Homes. But as you know, over recent years, Derby Homes have started to build and acquire properties in their own right. And these properties, Derby Homes properties, are let using assured and assured short hold starter tenancy agreements, which are different than those that are used by Derby City Council. So it's important that there's a policy now to reflect the difference. And that's why this policy has been written. And that's basically it. So it's just, unless you've got any questions about the policy itself.
Any questions, anybody? No. No.
I've got one just more for information than querying on the policy. When I read it, I got a little bit confused about who can succeed and can't when a married couple, one of them's died and the other one can obviously take it on. But if for some reason one dies and the other one remarries, I got the impression that you couldn't have a succession in that case. So, married couple.
Yeah.
Wife dies early. Husband remarries, lives there for 10, 30 years. At the end of that, it seemed to be, it was down to your discretion as to whether the new wife could actually succeed if the husband died. Is that right?
Shall I come in on that one, Lorraine?
Yeah.
Just for clarity, Tony, there's one statutory right of succession. So it would go from, in your scenario, from husband to wife. There wouldn't be a statutory succession to new wife in that scenario, but it's something that we would look upon sensitively.
Right, I did understand it correctly. It seemed a bit just the way I was reading it, I think.
Yeah, in the same way that, you know, if there's not a statutory right of succession for a child that's been living there for many years, we would look on the situation very sensitively.
Yeah, I think you state that somewhere in their policy, don't you?
Yeah.
Nice and easy, Lorraine.
Is that okay then?
Yeah, that's fine.
Anything else before I leave?
Yeah. Yes, there is. We're locking the doors and you can't go. Now, to be fair, Lorraine, you're leaving the meeting after a bit, and I just think on behalf, personally, as chair of the operational board, and I know that board members will share my sentiments, we really wish you well thank you for everything you've done. You've been very supportive in my role, and at times I would perhaps not got where I am if I hadn't got your support.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure working with you all.
And I'm sure that the rest of the members would echo that.
Yeah.
Yep. Enjoy whatever you're doing next.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But Lorraine, can I just, first of all, repeat everything that Bob's just said. You don't often attend the main board, but that doesn't mean to say we're not aware of the excellent work that you do. And we really appreciate everything you've done. The fact that we are always getting very high satisfaction measures is in no small way to the excellent work that you've done for many years here at this organisation. On behalf of the main board, I wish you all the best and enjoy your retirement. But thank you very much for everything you've done. People may not know that Lorraine and I knew each other in a previous life. when I was on the board of Derwent Living and Lorraine worked for Derwent. And a few weeks ago, we had a conversation about that, and she was reminding me about a tenant board member at Derwent who she said gave her a really hard time and thought she was not doing a good job. And I had to reassure her that actually in the board meetings he was always singing Lorraine's praise and saying what a fantastic manager she was and what a fantastic job she was doing. And I think that just shows that you are respected by board members, by tenants, and by everybody. And thank you very much, Lorraine.
Tony?
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, once again, I haven't cancelled my hand.
So what can we say, Lorraine? And I just think, as somebody who's retired, welcome to your busy future.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on then. You guys have any questions? No. We wish you all the well. This leaves, must be you, Calvin, is it?
Yeah, that's it. No pressure.
No, follow that.
Well, this is the Community Action Grant funding. So again, I know this came out of the papers. Has everybody had the opportunity to read through it? This was quite colourful. There's some photos in the report as well, and it gives you a bit more context and flavour around the work that's been undertaken over the last 12 months. So, in summary, this is around the £20,000 grant for that goes to Community Action Derby, specifically around supporting volunteering in the city, creating opportunities for our customers to, get involved in volunteering. Particularly relevant with a lot of our community rooms where a lot of our customer groups are using those. They've benefited from the work that we've been able to deliver with Community Action Derby around increasing the offer of volunteering in the city. So it just gives you a bit of an overview of what's been happening since December last year to November this year. And we're looking for approval to support a further grant of 20,000 to take us from this December to November next year. I kind of feel that the report speaks for itself. I think those that know me know that volunteering is very passionate about volunteering. We're really fortunate actually in Derby to have Community Action Derby. A lot of cities did lose their infrastructure organisations, or they lost their way and started delivering services and not providing infrastructure support. But one of the key gems in the crown of Community Action Derby is actually the Volunteer Centre, which is an accredited volunteer centre. So, it actually provides accredited schemes for people to get involved. One such example would be the Passport Programme, amongst many others. So the 20,000 that we contribute is a smaller amount compared to the rest of the funding that Community Action seeks to deliver those services. But obviously, as we know in the world of volunteering, a small amount can go a very long way. And that's certainly the case for this. And some of that's reflected. Some of that money goes towards funding the celebration event. Coming back to your point, Dennis, the volunteer celebration event, something we're really keen to continue to up the ante on and make it more visible and high profile year in, year out, but also provides the opportunities to, provide really good quality training and support. And you'll see across our estates, you know, projects, you know, the plot to play, the integral close, very connected in with the work that Volunteer in the Centre does. So it's £20,000. The recommendation is for you to note the report and the great work that's being done, and to approve a further grant of 20,000 for the next 12 months.
Any questions, anyone? Jan?
Just want to say again, really in support of this, and the again the sort of impact that volunteering can have, both for the individuals who are volunteering, but then also the organisations that benefit from the volunteering as well. It's such a good use of such a small amount of money. So yeah.
Thank you. And I can't quote it on the spot, but they do a calculation each year as to the value of volunteering hours that you get that's generated, and it's in excess of £1 million worth of value.
I was going to pick up on that. That figure is massively understated.
It's massively understated.
Because if you use the National Heritage Lottery formula, it'd be an average of at least £20 an hour.
Absolutely.
And I was amazed when I saw over 100,000 hours of volunteering. That is a huge amount of volunteering. And I just wanted to add, because they are the front of house organisation for the cost of living support across the city. You know, this is they are a vital partner in the city's cost of living response as well. So,
Tony, then Mike.
Yeah, just a quick point. I take everything that Carl's just said, and it seems a good idea. And it's a further grant of £20,000. I mean, inflation, should we be giving them a bit more?
Tony, all day. Yeah, I agree. Is that an action?
Well, if I think with my Derby games, the board will be having a challenging budget. The
answer is no, Tony.
Well, thank you, Tony. Thank you.
Thought you'd like
Just
that,
want
Carl.
to emphasise what everybody's just said. I think for £20,000, this is an absolute bargain. That we talked about a number of places, partnership, team derby, community action derby are the key players in that. Without them, I'm not saying everything would fall apart, but it would be very much harder to keep it going. They do an absolutely superb job, and as everybody said, for £20,000, it's an absolute bargain.
You said Tony, no. Claire.
Thanks, Chair. Just picking up on Tony's point that, of course, it is open to the operation. It is open to the operational board to make a recommendation that we add an inflationary uplift to this amount to Community Action Derby. It's certainly something that we could take away and consider.
Well, the funding is from the community initiatives budget, which is about £100,000, and that £100,000 will be £100,000 next year. So you know that is the more we spend on some areas, no doubt there'll be a DACP request come through in due course, etc. So spend it how you feel, but the budget can only get spent once.
Who comes first?
It's a good case forward. I think we'll park that for now, Tony, but it's a good suggestion.
Very good.
Yeah, I'll leave that with the finance people.
I will pass that back to the board in January when they see the budget plans.
Just get your arrears down.
Josh, we want to move on to confidential items, so can you please thank all those who've been watching.